Let's be real. Modern dating has become a battlefield of confusion, ghosting, and endless guessing games. But here's the truth no one tells you. The real power doesn't come from understanding her next move. It comes from mastering your own. This isn't about clever tactics or psychological manipulation. It's about rebuilding your masculine core so deeply that women feel the shift without you having to say a word. Stoicism isn't silence, it's strategy. It's the art of becoming unshakable, untouchable, and unforgettable. In this video, I'll reveal 9 Stoic principles that don't just change how you date, they change who you are in the process. So before we dive in, make sure to subscribe to Stoic 24 and hit the bell icon so you never miss a moment that could change your life. Number 1. The gravity of purpose. Most men drift because they've never anchored themselves to a real mission. Not a paycheck, not a woman, a mission. And without it, they become hollow, reactive, needy, waiting for someone to validate their worth. You've probably seen it, maybe even lived it. Chasing her attention, thinking if you just say the right thing, she'll finally see you. But she's not drawn to the chase, she's drawn to direction. Women don't want to lead you. They want to feel the gravity of a man already moving with purpose. That's why a man up before sunrise, building something no one claps for yet, pulls more energy than any pickup line ever could. It's not about being cold or distant. It's about being centered, focused, awake to something bigger than momentary approval. And here's the truth most won't face. When your life becomes about pleasing her, you lose both her and yourself. The Stoic shift begins when you stop asking if you're enough for her and start asking if you're true to you. You don't chase. You don't beg. You build. And if she stays, she stays. If not, the mission continues. That's the difference between a man anchored in purpose and a man drowning in emotion. Your silence, your presence, and your direction, when built from inner truth, speak louder than any words ever will. Number 2. The stillness that speaks most. Men fear silence because it feels like surrender, as if not speaking means losing control. So they fill the void with words, apologies they don't mean, jokes to deflect tension, explanations that only weaken their position. But real strength isn't in the noise you make, it's in the quiet you keep. When emotions run high, the average man scrambles to fix, to soothe, to justify. The Stoic stands firm. His silence isn't indifference, it's discipline. He understands that reacting is an invitation for chaos to take the reins. Your quiet presence after her storm isn't dismissal, it's stability. A harbor doesn't chase the ship, yet the ship returns because the harbor remains unmoved. Most men ignore this truth out of love or fear or the desperate need to be seen as the hero. But fixing isn't always leading. Sometimes, the most powerful thing you can do is nothing at all, to let the storm pass without adding fuel to it. She doesn't need your solutions, she needs your steadiness. And if she mistakes your calm for coldness, let her. A man who respects himself doesn't beg for understanding. He knows that silence, when wielded with purpose, speaks louder than any argument. The Stoic response isn't to engage every battle. It's to choose which ones are worth your energy and let the rest dissolve into the quiet. Number 3. Boundaries as attraction. A man who tolerates disrespect does not teach others to love him. He teaches them to ignore him. You teach people how to treat you not through words, but through what you allow. Weakness is not in setting limits. It is in swallowing resentment while smiling, in saying yes when your soul screams no. The Stoic understands this. He does not plead for decency or negotiate his dignity. When crossed, he does not rage or explain. He acts. A single quiet departure speaks louder than 1,000 arguments. Men often delude themselves, believing love means endless compromise, that if they endure just a little more, she will finally see their worth. But love is not a reward for suffering. Respect is not earned through desperation. The paradox is this: the less you demand compliance, the more your boundaries hold weight. They are not threats, nor are they punishments. They are simply the unshakable truth of what you will and will not accept. A man who enforces them without apology does not push people away. He pulls those worthy closer. The rest? Let them go. Silence is the answer to disrespect. Self-control is the rebuttal to chaos. And in that stillness, you reclaim something most men never realize they've lost: the power to walk away. Number 4. Depth over disclosure. Oversharing is not vulnerability. It's insecurity masquerading as intimacy. A man who spills his past too soon mistakes exposure for strength, forgetting that trust is earned, not demanded. True connection is built in layers, not landslides. The Stoic understands this. He reveals himself gradually, not to manipulate, but because his story has weight. He knows that depth is measured in silence as much as speech, in the spaces between words where respect grows. Most men ignore this, clinging to the false comfort of instant validation, mistaking confession for connection. But love, or even genuine friendship, is not a transaction where you trade wounds for warmth. When asked about your struggles, resist the impulse to unload. Answer with meaning, not minutiae. I've known darkness, but it taught me to guard my light. Carries more power than a trauma dump. It honors your experience without making it a burden for others to carry. The deeper lesson? Not everything that happened to you matters to everyone. Some stories are yours alone, not secrets, but sacred. A man who controls his narrative controls his dignity. So speak when it serves. Listen without rehearsing your reply. And remember, silence is not emptiness. It's the unshakable calm of a man who needs no audience to validate his worth. Number 5. Emotional equilibrium. A woman's storm does not have to become your tempest. Too many men mistake compassion for capitulation, believing that love demands they drown alongside her in turbulent emotions. They absorb her frustration, her anxiety, her sadness, not out of strength, but from an unconscious fear that to remain steady is to be uncaring. This is weakness disguised as devotion. The Stoic understands the difference. He offers presence without possession. He listens without losing himself. His calm is not indifference. It is the foundation upon which real support is built. You cannot steady a rocking boat by jumping into the waves. Denial is the first obstacle. Men cling to the fantasy that if they just feel enough, if they just fix enough, they can control what was never theirs to control. But love is not a transaction where her peace is purchased by your suffering. Emotional equilibrium is not neglect. It is the highest form of respect for yourself and for her. When you anchor your mind, you do not abandon her. You become the harbor she can choose to sail toward. The Stoic response is simple, though never easy. Control what is yours. Release what is not. Silence often is the wisest answer, not to her, but to the part of you that mistakes chaos for duty. Stand firm. The storm will pass. Number 6. The mastery of momentum. Indecision is a slow surrender, not just of the moment, but of respect. Women, like life itself, respond to direction, not desperation. A man who hesitates, who mutters maybe when he should declare this, betrays a deeper weakness, fear of his own will. The Stoic understands that action, even imperfect, carries dignity. To say dinner Thursday, I'll pick you up at 8-inch is not tyranny, it is clarity. And clarity is strength. Most men fail here, not for lack of desire, but from an addiction to approval. They soften their edges, mistaking flexibility for kindness, when in truth, it is only cowardice wearing a polite mask. But momentum is not about control, it is about conviction. A man who knows what he wants and moves toward it without apology does not demand followers, he inspires them. Hesitation by contrast, is a vacuum. Nature abhors it, and so do women. Deny this if you wish. Cling to the fantasy that love is earned through endless compromise, but the Stoic knows better. He acts. He claims what is his, not with arrogance, but with the quiet certainty of a man who respects himself too much to beg for scraps of attention. When the world tests you, as it will, answer with action, then silence. Let the results speak for themselves. Number 7. Ownership as oxygen. Blaming is the habit of those who fear the weight of their own choices. The Stoic understands this. He knows that to live with integrity, he must claim everything: his victories, his failures, even the reactions he cannot control. When things unravel, the weak man scrambles for excuses, pointing fingers at the world as if it owes him fairness. The Stoic does not flinch. He turns inward. My fault. Here's how I fix it. No caveats, no self-pity, just the quiet resolve of a man who refuses to be a passenger in his own life. Most men ignore this truth, clinging to denial or the false comfort of victimhood. They lie to themselves, believing that love or circumstance absolves them of responsibility. But reality does not negotiate. The woman who stands beside you does not want apologies. She wants to see a man who meets chaos with calm, who shapes his world rather than being crushed by it. That safety, the unshakable confidence of ownership, is what separates the boy from the man when failure comes, as it always will. Do not waste breath on complaints. Stand firm. Correct what you can, accept what you cannot, and move forward in silence. The world rewards those who carry their burdens without spectacle. Own your life, and no one can ever take your dignity from you. Number 8. Investment attention. Most men believe attention is enough. A glance, a nod, the occasional compliment tossed like loose change. But attention is cheap, fleeting, the currency of the distracted. Real investment is different. It demands presence, the kind that doesn't just hear but listens, not to reply, but to understand. You'll know you're doing it right when you catch the shift in her voice at the mention of her father, or the way her fingers tighten around the cup when she's holding back frustration. These are the details most men miss, not out of malice, but because they're too busy performing affection rather than embodying it. They drown the silence with empty words, mistaking noise for connection. The Stoic knows better. He invests where it matters, in the unspoken, the subtle, the spaces between words where truth lives. Put the phone away. Remember what she told you last week. Notice what she doesn't say. That's how you build something real, not with grand gestures, but with the quiet discipline of being fully there. And if she doesn't value that, walk away without explanation. Your silence will speak louder than any complaint. Self-respect isn't negotiable. Number 9. Detachment from outcome. True strength lies not in possession, but in presence, the ability to engage fully while holding the result lightly. Most men suffocate their own worth by tying it to a woman's approval, as if their value flickers in and out of existence based on her yes or no. But freedom is found in the opposite truth. Your worth was there before her, and it remains after. The Stoic does not love half-heartedly. He loves boldly, yet without demand. He knows that neediness is not passion, it is fear disguised as desire. And so he refuses to make his happiness contingent on another's choices. This is the discipline so many avoid, clinging instead to denial or the fantasy that love means control. They bargain, they plead, they rearrange themselves in hopes of earning what should only ever be given freely. But a man who seeks validation has already lost, not because he was rejected, but because he abandoned his own sovereignty. The shift is simple but profound. Pursue excellence, not approval. Let your life be the mission, and the right women will recognize themselves as allies, not prizes to be won. When the outcome is beyond your control, there is only one response: silence, acceptance, and the quiet confidence of a man who needs nothing to remain whole. Conclusion: true strength isn't about possession, it's about presence. Most men chain their worth to a woman's approval, as if their value vanishes without her yes. But freedom comes from knowing you were whole before her, and you'll remain whole after. The Stoic loves deeply, yet without demand. He engages fully but holds the outcome lightly, because his mission doesn't hinge on anyone's validation. Neediness isn't passion, it's fear in disguise. And no man who begs for love can truly lead. The weak cling to denial, bargaining for affection they'll never respect. The strong? They focus on excellence, not as a tactic, but as a way of life. The right woman isn't a prize to chase. She's an ally who recognizes your depth. If she walks away, let her. Silence is your answer. Control what's yours, your purpose, your discipline, your unshakable core. Stoicism isn't about becoming stone. It's about becoming unshakable. This isn't about getting the girl. It's about deserving the woman who matches your depth. If you're ready to trade games for greatness, hit subscribe. We build men who lead, not with dominance, but with quiet command. This is Stoic Revolution. Time to rise.